Hey, we're ready to go here on the third segment of the Coon Prairie Ramblers, rambling right along. And we're going to talk about Casey's mama.
No, your mama.
My mama.
Your mama.
Don't talk about my mama.
Your mama.
Your mama.
Your mama wears army boots.
Your mama is so fat.
When she sits around the room, she sits around the room.
Now, we got
Good thing my mama didn't hear that.
next Sunday
Mine too.
is Mother's Day.
When you'll be hearing this Saturday and Sunday, that weekend.
Most of us have the utmost respect, and we probably didn't always show it, but we all feel like our mom was the best.
I know you didn't do it. I know you was a bad boy.
I was.
I can picture it.
Mama
Bad boy, bad
tried.
boy.
Mama
What you
tried to
gonna
raise
do?
me better.
What you gonna
But her
do
pleading
when it
I
comes
deny.
Bad boy,
That
bad
leaves
boy.
only me to blame, 'cause Mama tried.
Did you wear your guns to town?
Yep, I did everything
know.
that she told me not to do. I mean, really, I was
Always
not.
be a good boy. Don't ever play with guns.
I was
Buddy shot a man in Reno.
not a good son. I wasn't. I mean,
Yeah.
God bless Mom and Dad. They tried to do
But
right.
you wasn't a bad son. You weren't as good a
I
son as
wasn't
you could have
good.
been. Nobody is, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, I did a lot of things I shouldn't have done coming up. But anyhow,
But you weren't a bad seed.
I was, once I got out of their sight.
Uh-oh.
Wait a minute. Bundy.
Katie
Bundy was a bad seed.
And then some.
I didn't kill anybody, but
I bet his mama was really sad.
Hopefully she was dead
let's
before
talk
he did all
about
that.
our moms in a good way.
You
I'll tell you
about
what,
your
my
mama.
mother was and I say this not just because she was my mother, because I think anybody that ever met her would say the same thing. She was one of the kindest, most soft-spoken, gentle souls that you'll ever meet.
I can vouch for that.
She was a epitome to me of what a Christian woman, mother, wife should be. She was dedicated to
Yes, she
her
was.
family
Miss Rosalie,
and her
she sure
household, her church, and I mean,
And you was a lousy son.
I was. I wish I had, really heeded their
Yeah.
warnings and their messages they told me, and but I wasn't really good at it. I mean,
She was very quiet. I never heard
Very
her talk.
quiet.
Never heard her talk a lot at all.
and I never heard her say a bad word about anybody.
You almost
in
had to
my
speak to
life.
her before she'd speak.
Exactly, she did.
That was my
She
remembrance
reminded
of
me
her.
a lot of some other women, I guess, of that same era. Is like Royce's mother, Miss Mott.
Yeah.
She reminded me a lot of Gladys Dees.
Yeah, it's the they kind of epitomize the scripture about mothers or godly women,
Proverbs
and-
31.
Yeah, Proverbs 31.
which is on my mother's headstone.
Is it really?
The
That's
the
good.
reference to it is.
Uh-huh.
But she was a sweet soul. But
Yeah,
she was also the kind that you didn't want to mess with her cubs.
There you go. Mama Bear would come out then.
And I remember one time, I learned a lot. I almost sometimes think I learned a lot more from my mother than I did my father. But I remember one time in particular, I went to school and I come home the next day, and I told my mother that I needed an extra, I don't know exactly what it was, but like $1. And she said, well, what do you need $1 for? I gave you your lunch money and, whatever else you needed. And I said, well, there's some boys that want my lunch money. And I don't want to give them my lunch money and not have money for lunch. So I figured if you give me $1 or whatever it was, could have been 35 cents, I can use that for my lunch money and give them what I had for my lunch money, and I could still eat lunch and not face, a beat down by a little group of boys. And she said, well, I love you, son.
But
I'm not going to give you any money. She said, if you'll stand up to them, they won't ever bother you again. I said, well, that's very comforting for you to say.
Hey,
But you're not the one that's going to have to go to school
I heard that.
and face these hooligans. So
besides that, they're going to find out that you have extra money at some point.
They might.
He brings his lunch
well,
money.
they didn't
money.
find out because I went to school that day.
Do or die.
And one of the boys was kind of the ringleader. And he come
Well,
up
did you
to
bring
me
the
and-
money?
Yeah, said, where's your money? We need just 35 cents or whatever. Probably was about 35 cents.
Yeah.
I said, I ain't got it. I said, and I'm not going to have it tomorrow, the next day, or any day after that. I said, my mother's not going to give me any extra money, and I'm going to use mine for my lunch.
That's right.
And some kids behind me heard me, and they'd been paying this ransom money.
Oh, my goodness.
And they kind of stood up behind me.
They rallied.
And that was the end of that.
So it was like a scene from West Side Story.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Over lunch money. And that was the end of that. But what a lesson I learned throughout my entire life, that sometimes when you just stand up to people for your principles or what you believe in, boom.
It goes away.
I saw an episode on Andy Griffith with Opie, and this boy was taking Opie's money, and his daddy gave him that same advice. And the next scene, Opie walks in there with a black eye.
And missing a front tooth, whatever.
I didn't get a black eye. So anyhow, enough about my mama.
What about your mama, Mel?
My mom, I've talked a lot about my mom on the show before, but she was a very kind-hearted person. She was very soft, and I always held that against her because it always, she was always letting the drunks, come sleep it off in the house, and then they'd end up ripping us off. And I always was irritated at that. But, years later, after I grew up and everything, got to thinking about reflecting, I thought, well, I would have done it different. I would have given them tough love. But
right.
But she was giving them the love that she knew how to give.
Wow.
And she was always allowing people to take advantage of her.
I hear that chicken again.
Hopefully, at least one of them was appreciative of that.
Yeah. But she was Mom was she raised me by herself. My dad was gone by the time I was 10, and
didn't leave much for Mom and me.
Right.
It's just old guitar and an empty bottle of booze.
Yeah, and she worked hard. She worked she didn't work as a waitress. She worked in the basement of Reeves Restaurant. She made $40. What's that cheaping, man?
There's a bird peeping in here. I think you got some biddies up in the attic or something.
Maybe so,
It's driving me.
Some kind
That's
of
what it is.
birds.
Wrens up there.
There's a nest up there in the ceiling.
Anyway, Mama worked at the Reeves Restaurant. She made $40 a week, and our rent was $40 a month. But we lived in a roach infested
A roach motel.
duplex.
Was the floor sticky?
And I was always saving my money up to go buy roach spray, Black Flag, man. I'd save my money up and go down.
So bad you had to use it for deodorant. Keep them off of you.
And I could never get ahead of those roaches.
Did you ever sing La Cucaracha?
Oh, yeah.
La Cucaracha.
No puede comer. Yeah, but my mama, she always, she was proud of the fact that her kids never went hungry. I mean, she made it. She made it through life.
Very good.
Yeah, and eventually she kind of got a better job. She ended up becoming the clerk or the secretary in a big restaurant downtown.
Oh, wow.
Big famous restaurant. It was called the Clock, but it was not related to the Clock restaurants here. It was the big old Clock restaurant in downtown where all the railroaders, the Penn Central Station was just down the block there, and all the railroaders would come in and eat at the Clock.
Eat at the Clock.
And they all knew her name was Emma Zetta, but they called her Zetty or Amy, and they all knew Zetty, and she'd come down and
Ready for Zeddy.
say hi to everybody. This is in her later years.
Wow.
And she worked till she was 70. She wanted to take advantage of Social Security. So
You got 1 minute for Luke to tell us.
Okay.
That's all right. I ain't got much to tell. My mother was mostly a stay-at-home mom. There was 4 of us kids. My father was in the Coast Guard, so he was away a lot for several days at a time or weeks at a time. And one time he was gone for a couple of years to Alaska.
Whoa.
And so my mom pretty much raised us, not by herself, but we saw a lot more of her than we did our dad. But she worked a little bit later on when he retired in the lunchroom at school here at Nocatee. But I was thinking the other day, and my mother died when I was 25, my father when I was 30, so I didn't know them that long, but I never remember them calling each other by their names.
Yeah.
They never called the name. It was always honey. Huh. Every time they addressed each other.
Each one was honey to
Each
the
one
other?
was honey. They called it. I never heard them one time say Charlie or Charlotte. unless they were telling a story. But each other, it was honey each time. But
I love the name Charlotte.
Yeah.
that was good. Anyhow, all right, well, we're going to have to get on out of here and come up with an F-bomb, so y'all don't go away.
All right, honey.